everyone, this is Eclipse Zero with my first challenge run. I'm doing Dark Souls 2 bow only. Um, Dark Souls 2 is by far my favorite Dark Souls game out of the three, and it was also my first, so I also have it's just a special game to me. So I'm also a little bit biased in that aspect. But I hope you guys enjoy, and let's just get right into this. So first things first, once I started was I got the small suit move in Silky Stone. I went into the hut, and I decided to name my character Ranger Annabeth. That has a bow is the bandit, so that is the class that I chose. As for the gift, I went with healing wares because you can never go wrong with more healing. After that, I got my character done, and I was ready to tackle the challenge. So first thing was making sure I only had the bow equipped, and I only had 25 wooden arrows to my name, and so first thing was I grabbed the human effigy out of the hut, because I knew that I was just going to die many times. After that, I skipped the tutorial and I headed actually straight to Majula, and then I went and took this drop here so that I could grab the items and sell them later, in case I needed more arrows and I was in a tight spot for souls. I went and talked to the Herald to get the Estus flask. And finally, I went around and gathered up all of the loose items that were in Majula. And got the Estus flash shard in the well. I then grabbed the Titanite shard that is in the armorer's house. And lastly, I joined the Way of the Blue so that I could get the seal to increase my health just slightly. It's better than nothing. I then made my way to the Forest of Fallen Giants, where I decided to do a damage test against some of these basic hollows. And needless to say, it was kind of sad. As you can see, just 2 hollows were giving me quite the difficult time. I only started with 25, and it was quickly dwindling if I was going to be taking on a lot of these guys in order to get to a place where I could purchase more arrows. After this, I decided that I was going to be big brain and practice my fist pairing, which didn't work out very well. Afterwards, I finally made it out of that little death zone and came up here to another absolutely terrible place, since I don't have any melee of any sort except for smacking people with the bow, which is just slow, doesn't do a lot of damage, and it's sure to get me killed. So I went around, quickly collected as much as I could, and pretty soon I had like the entirety of the platoon here on me. And then I also got 2 broken straight swords, which was great. Realizing I probably couldn't climb that ladder, I just decided to book it over here, grab the items over here, But that was my first mistake because now I'm trapped down below the ladder with about 20 guys. And I also decided to give this guy a back massage and realized that, wow, a fist backstab does so much more damage than what I could muster with my bow and arrow. So after I realized that I was probably going to die, I hightailed it out of there. I did not want to deal with that, and um, I was basically stuck here until I could find a good place to get a break. Eventually, I did find my break, and I had to pick up a shiny. I then went straight to the fog wall and got the first major bonfire and talked to the merchant. And I was really stoked because I was like, yes, I'm going to be able to find arrows. That was not the case. She does not sell arrows. But she does, however, sell the blacksmith key, which does sell arrows for a whole 1,000, which I did not have. But I instead just picked up the firebomb so that I could open up the shortcut. Now I was on my way, grabbing some things up above the bonfire. Nailed it. And second time around, I actually did grab it. I then opened up the shortcut and almost died in the process. Afterwards, I decided that I should probably find a way to grab some souls in order to get that key and arrows. And decided to get this turtleneck to hit the bombs. And it did work. It killed one guy, and I got greedy and died because of a shiny. As you can see, there's quite a pattern here. So after grabbing it all back, I decided to be a little bit smarter with this, and unfortunately they broke all of the powder kegs that I could have possibly used to kill him, so I decided to just kind of cut my losses and rest at the bonfire. Afterwards, I went back to Majula, realizing that I had all these soul items that I could use in order to purchase the key after all.
Therefore, you will seek the there is the here to see. However,
Took this time to upgrade my Estus flask and headed back to Forest Fallen Giants. I went back to the merchant and picked up the blacksmith key and went straight back to Majula so that I could pick up some more arrows, as I had none at this time. With the little bit of souls that I did have, I picked up as much of those wooden arrows as I possibly could and made my way to Kale the Cartographer to get the house key, and on the way back I found this hollow doing some sick upper body workout. I went back to Majula and used the house key and grabbed the Pharaoh's Lockstone. I then went into the basement of the house, which was already a bad decision because I can't do nearly enough damage to skeletons, and they do a lot of damage to me. I decided to then just grab the Estus Flash Shard that I needed and get out. But before I did that, I decided to try to grab the Soul Vessel, which did not work as planned. So then, after grabbing my stuff back, this little guy got all the way and followed me all the way out of the house, and I decided that, you know, I needed to make a way for it, so I became a chiropractor. And then I hightailed it back to the bonfire.
Is that here?
After which I then used the new Estus Flask Shard that I got to upgrade my Estus Flask. And used the remaining souls that I did have to level up. After which I went into this death room at the Forest Fallen Giants. And needless to say, I thought that I had it, but then I just totally forgot how many of them were actually in there. And I didn't nearly have enough damage to make it worthwhile. So instead I just watched this. I tried my absolute hardest to take care of just these couple of these hollow soldiers, and it was really not very fun. After which I got trapped in a corner and got treated like a chew toy with a bunch of puppies. And it did not work. After which I finally got my way down there and used the Pharaoh's Lockstone that I had got from the house earlier to grab the Corinthy Ring and the first Titanite slab that you have access to. I then decided to knock on these guys' doors so that they could open up the door, and waited for them. I then got the life ring, and I tried to get to the shortcut. However, I was constantly being smacked around, so I couldn't actually open up the gate, and I ended up dying. Afterwards, using the last remaining little bit of souls that I had, I grabbed up to 72 wooden arrows, and I also grabbed those 10 extra fire arrows that you get just before the last giant. And it was finally time to go against the last giant. Now, this wasn't as bad as I thought it might be, but it also wasn't too great. I did very little damage with standard wooden arrows, and as you can see, I'm making decent progress. It just takes a long time. And then I decided to finally use one of the fire arrows, which did a significant amount of damage. I also tested my damage with fists and only did about half that I could with the bow, just for fun. I almost died, and if I would have died there, I would have probably just quit. I didn't have enough to recover to do a second thing, and eventually I decided to just use up the fire arrows, and I'm glad that I did, because I would have been stuck there for so much longer, and I probably would have also died. I got very close to dying, screwed up a dodge timing, and finally finished him off with the last remaining fire arrow. leaving me with a minuscule 15 wood and 4 fire left. Afterwards, I went back to Majula and leveled up my adaptability so I could get some more iframes on my rolls. Of course, it's not going to be a big difference until I get that number up to higher, but you got to start somewhere. And I also put a couple points into health, endurance, and dexterity. I then used the last remaining amount to get as much as I possibly could in arrow-wise. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe if you're interested in seeing more, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.